Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Paladin Dance, and today, by popular request, I'm bringing you guys another dungeon guide. This one's going to be for a 17 Theater of Pain that I did yesterday, and I'm going to be going over the trash pools, the route, the bosses, everything you guys need to know. This was a pickup group I found, and we actually crushed this key. We finished it with almost 6 minutes left. So this is one of the best situations you can get with a pickup group, is when you get, a group of competent players. I haven't been able to find any groups to push with, so I still just do pickup groups, and this is one of the better runs that I've had so far this week. So I wanted to share it with you guys and give you guys the dungeon guide. You guys can catch me at twitch.tv/PaladinDan, and with that all said, let's get into the route. Alright guys, so going into the dungeon here, we're going to do the 4-pack first, and you're going to want to blow all your CDs here. I do use First Avenger in this dungeon, and as you'll see, I'll have Ardent Defender up for the majority of this fight, which is going to make it easier for me, but I still take a lot of damage because I am just a prop paladin. I'm not a DH who can mitigate a ton of damage or something like that. However, on this pack, you're going to have a couple things happening. So the Bloodhorn is going to be doing his rampage. You want to soothe that whenever he turns red, because otherwise your group's going to be taking a ton of damage. And then you're going to have these two melee dudes, the contenders, which are going to slow you, and they also enrage. When they enrage, they do a lot of damage. They also apply a debuff that makes you take 20% more damage. So you're going to want to end up kiting these guys, probably use a defensive for them. However, the group just, destroys these guys, and we go into the boss. Now going into the boss, this is a council fight. These guys end up doing, they end up getting different abilities when they reach 30 or 40% HP. I don't remember exactly what it was. However, on this one, you're going to want to focus down Decia, the one in the middle, first. That is because she gets a 3% shield when she gets low. It is purgeable. We do have a priest in the group, which is really nice, but you're going to want to focus her down first. And then you can probably focus down Sathel, which is the caster looking guy, because he's going to be casting Searing Death, which does AoE damage to the entire group. You do want to get kicks on that whenever possible. However, overall, you're going to want to just keep these guys together as much as possible so you can get the cleave, focus down Decia, then Sathel, and then you're basically done the boss fight. So now we're going to move on to the downstairs. So once downstairs, guys, we're going to be going into the banner boss section first, and you're just going to be pulling that section right through. You're going to go in a straight line, not going to be doing anything fancy, so it's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to start off with this 3-pack here. These guys are not much of a threat. You just kill these guys. Once they get a little bit lower, you can pull them into the mini boss. I do wait a little bit longer than I usually do here because we do have Spiteful, so I want to make sure that people didn't get one shot or something. But you can just move these 3 into the other guy. Now once you start with the mini boss, he's going to do a Whirlwind ability, which you don't want to stand in. And aside from that, he doesn't really do much, guys. I think he does like a little charge. He throws his little sword on the ground, which starts spinning. You just don't want to stand in that. But he's pretty much just a pretty straightforward brute force. You just kill him and then you move on. So after you move on with him, you're going to go on to this little bridge here. And again, you're going to have another mini boss. Now, this guy doesn't really do much of anything either. These mini bosses are pretty straightforward, pretty easy. He's going to do this ground smash, which you want to obviously not stand in like my healer did there. And then he's going to do a little tank crusher thing on you, which does basically no damage. And that's about it. I think that he might have an ability that you want to kick, but maybe not. Maybe that's the other one I'm thinking about. But you kill him. What really matters is that after this, you're going to get your pride. So I'll fast forward a little bit here. And as you can see, here we get our first pride. And this is good because the next pack that you're going to get is going to be a really big pack, and it's going to be a pack that you want to burst down really quickly. So we're just going to burst this down, kill it, and then we're going to go ahead and blow our CDs on the next pack. So this next pack, as you're going to see, is going to die really fast. However, the only thing that you want to really focus on here is the captain. Now the captain has an ability called Commanding Presence. That's going to increase all damage dealt by 25%, and it reduces AoE damage taken by 75%. He's also got a Demoralizing Shout, which reduces damage done by all enemies by 50%. So you want to make sure that you kill the captain first, And after that, you can just finish off the pack and move on to the next mini boss. Now this next mini boss, the one we have here, she puts up her shield every once in a while and she can't do any damage while you're facing the shield, so you have to be behind her to do any damage. Aside from that, she'll throw her axe or her weapon at one of the DPS. But, it's just a straightforward mini boss. And again, after this, you're going to get Prideful, which is going to go into the boss. So here we get the Pride. We're just going to quickly burst this down. And after you burst this down, you're going to get Pride into the boss. Going into this boss, guys, he's going to do a brutal combo, which you just saw here. You're going to want to definitely have your Shield of the Righteous up for this. You're going to want your mitigation up. And then after that, he's going to spawn the banner. You want to ASAP kill the banner because the banner slows the entire group. And he's going to start doing his wombo combo here. And you definitely don't want to be slowed for that because then you're going to get hit by one of his abilities. After he does his wombo combo, he's going to send 2 of the DPS down to fight each other. You just want to let one of the DPS die. They're going to get the one who wins the duel, quote unquote, gets a buff. That buff is going to just give him a little bit more damage. It's pretty inconsequential though. And that's the fight, guys. You just rinse, repeat. Always kill the banner. Make sure you have mitigation up for when he uses a brutal combo. And, dodges stuff. It's a pretty straightforward boss. He does get more challenging and tyrannical, but on Fortified, he's pretty much a joke. Now, once you finish with this boss here, guys, you're going to be going into the upper barrow of Carnage and pulling these 2 packs here so that you can get enough percentage to go into the next boss with Pride. So with these 2 packs here, what you can do is you can pull them separate, or you can pull them together like we did in this group and you can lust them. The only thing is that you're going to have 3 kicks here. So first, you're going to have this Diseased Horror. He's going to be casting Meat Shield, which is a shield on himself. You definitely want to get that. And then you have this Blighted Sludge Spewer, which is going to be casting Withering Discharge. Now, this is going to apply a very nasty debuff to the entire party. So you want to make sure that you get that kick. And there are 2 of those. There's this one here in this pack and this one over here. This guy over here doesn't really do anything. You don't have to kick. So you need to kick on both these spewers and on the meat shield. So as long as your party's coordinated enough to get the kicks on those, you can lust this together and it's a very efficient lust. Plus you get the prideful on the next boss. So let me show you what this looks like. Alright, so here we are, and like I explained, we're going to pull all this together and we're going to be lusting. Now I do notice watching this back now that I could probably just LOS all this, just go in with the horse, pull all it together and LOS back to where we just came from, but it's not too big a deal. However, I do recommend it because everything will be a little bit more together. As you can see though, I do get a couple of kicks here and there. Just right there, I just got one. But with Lust, you should be able to just burst these packs down. They don't do that much. They really don't do anything unless you miss one of the kicks. So it's just a pretty straightforward pull. You're going to kill all this stuff. And then after this, you're going to be going out of this wing into the Lich boss wing. So here we're going to have the Shackled Souls, and obviously you're going to pull these back and LOS them into the room. I like to split the room in half, so I pull 6 here. LOS all this. You don't want to pull it into the bridge because you have all those AoEs going on from the bridge. So to avoid that, you just LOS and you don't have to deal with that. Then we're just going to burst these down. They don't really do too much. I mean, they do some damage. You want to get kicks here and there if you want. If you can stun them all, AoE stun is great. Otherwise, they usually just die pretty quick. And then we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And so once you're done with the same thing on the other side, you're going to have the Portal Guardian here, which does a ton of AoE damage. So you want to kill him as quickly as possible. But after the Portal Guardian, we're going to get Pride here. So while we kill the Pride, I'm going to explain to you guys the next part of the dungeon and how the crash is going to work. So once you get Pride here, guys, after the Portal Guardian, you have 2 choices. You can go right side, which is going to be a lot quicker because these mobs only have 200k HP. Or you can go left side, which is going to take a little bit longer, and these mobs are going to have more HP. This guy, you just kick him, he doesn't really do much, so this isn't a hard trash pull per se. It just takes a little bit longer. However, let me explain. If you go here, you're going to be able to kill these really quickly, and once you get to this platform, you're going to have about 20-ish so seconds of pride left, which is good because you should be combusting, blowing CDs on this pack. You have a soul binder and this bone magus here. You want to get each one of their kicks, because if one of their kicks goes out, your group takes a ton of damage. And the soul binder is already doing a ton of AoE damage, so you want to burst this down very quickly. I recommend, if you don't feel confident in your kicking abilities as a group, or you don't think you have enough damage, CC the soul binder, pull these two, and then just kill the soul binder once you kill the magus. That's the safer option. However, if you went right side first, you should get some pride onto this. The only downside is that once you get over here to the last pool, I think you only have to kill one of these guys and you will spawn prideful. So this is a hard pull because this guy's going to be throwing out tornadoes. You're going to be taking damage because you're not going to be able to kick all this stuff. And it's just going to be really hectic. And if you spawn prideful here, if your guys aren't careful as a group, it's going to be a little bit troublesome. However, if you go left side here instead of right side, you'll have to kill all three of these packs to spawn prideful, so you won't have that problem. This is going to be a very safe pool. However, you might not have pride left over for this pool, so it's really up to you. You guys are going to have to choose which side you're going to go on, which side you think your group is more equipped to do. I went right side here. We blow this up really easily with our group, so let's see how that looks. So here we just killed our prideful, and now we're going to take the right side. We're going to kill these two mobs very quickly. All you have to do is kick them. You can stun them as well. And pro tip, you can click really fast on the portal before the spiteful spawn and jump to the next platform. So like I said, on this platform, I'm going to blow all my CDs here, everything that I have, and we're just going to burst all this down as fast as possible. And you want to get kicks on the soul binder and the magus. But as you can see, this group's just destroying this. It's all flopping over. We don't really have to worry too much about the kicks. However, if your group doesn't do this much damage, or if you don't think you can get all the kicks, you should definitely CC the soul binder and then take the other two separately. Once we're done with all that, we just kill the spitefuls because otherwise you can't go through the portal, and then we portal to the next mobs. So here in the next mobs, you just want to get the kicks whenever you can. It's not a big deal, and you just want to dodge the death winds. If you get yeeted off of the platform here, guys, you cannot get rezzed. You can't get B-rezzed, you can't get rezzed, so that's why this is the hardest section of the dungeon, in my opinion. If you get thrown off the platform, it's pretty much, you're griefing the key pretty hard because it's pretty dodgeable. It's something that you can easily dodge, and not just that, but your whole team is gonna have to wait for you for at least 1 minute while you walk back. So you just lost a minute for that death. In addition, if your whole team wipes here, the dungeon's probably over. It might be salvageable if you don't make any other mistakes literally anywhere else, but it's probably gonna end. So here we are at the last platform before the boss, and this is gonna give us the prideful like I mentioned earlier. Now the route we went, you're ideally gonna want to kill these all together, and you're gonna want to get as many kicks as you can here while dodging the tornado. Now here I see my healer go down to like 10%, and I decide to lay on hands him, and in that split second I get yeeted off the platform like I just told you guys not to, and this priest just pulls me right back with the grip, which was insane play. I commented later that he did a great job there saving the key. But don't be like me. You have to really pay attention in these pulls, guys. You do not want to get thrown off the platform with the tornadoes. Now here we're going to get the pride, as I mentioned before the boss, and then we're going to go right into the boss. This boss here, guys, as a tank is the easiest boss in the entire dungeon because all you have to do is literally sit there. Now, as for the DPS, you're going to get a debuff, and then there are going to be the grasping hands on the floor. You're going to want to stand behind that when the time comes in order to get rid of it. Aside from that, on Fortified, the boss isn't too hard. Periodically, there will be debuffs on DPS. Now, we are getting some of those dispelled. However, as a tank, especially as a protection paladin, sometimes we can't get all those debuffs off. Feel free to throw out a sack. You know, you have some of that utility. That's part of being a prop paladin. Throw out a sack to help out the team if your healer seems to be struggling. However, this boss really pretty much a tank and spank for the tank at least. Even for the DPS, it's pretty straightforward. In Tyrannical, he deals a lot more damage and it becomes a lot more troublesome, so you're going to want to Lust this one on Tyrannical. However, on Fortified, you don't even need Lust, you're going to have the Pride and that'll be enough. Once you're finished with Cool Rock, you're going to be moving on to the last section, which is the section where Gorechop is. And since you already pulled the 2 trash packs here earlier for the Lust pool, you're only going to have this bridge pack left over. So here you're going to want to kick the Blighted, whatever the hell his name is again, because he applies that AoE debuff to the team like I mentioned earlier. But a pretty inconsequential pool here, you just move on to the next one. Now once you move down the hallway after that pack, you're going to want to go either left or right, doesn't really matter, and you want to skip this Golem because you don't need him for a percent. Now if someone pulls him for some reason, make sure that they die at the top of the stairs so that you can still res them, but do not pull the Golem because it's going to screw up your Pride timing and then you're not going to be able to have Pride onto Gorechop. Moving right into this pack, again, you're going to have one of the Blighted dudes who you want to kick because otherwise you're going to get the debuff on your team. And then again, you're going to have a meat shield you want to kick, which we did not kick here as you can see. So this dude has a huge shield on him. However, you're just going to burst this down, keep getting your kicks, and then just move on to the next one on the bridge. So this big dude here on the bridge does the Vile Eruption where he does a frontal and a rear cone. So you have to watch out not to get one shot. And again, you're going to want to have to be kicking the Blighted guy because he's going to apply the debuff, which also goes off here. So this pool right here ends up being pretty sloppy. We miss a good amount of the kicks, but we do end up recovering. The team ends up coming back, and we go on to the pool before Gorechop, and that's just going to be 2 dudes. I think the one does like a mini tank buster, but they're pretty inconsequential. And then those are going to give you Pride, which I'll show briefly here. And then you're just going to move on into Gorechop. So for Gorechop here, we end up using Lust. Now, if this were the Tyrannical version, you would definitely 100% Lust Gorechop, not the last boss. Gorechop is more troublesome on Tyrannical. However, on Fortified, you can just go in with only the Prideful, but we do end up Lusting. And the argument could be made that you could leave the Lust for the last boss. That's what I prefer to do. However, we do have a Shadow Priest and a Mage who have to cast. And casting here can be troublesome because Gorechop will spawn the 2 ads that start jumping around. And then he also does the Tenderizing Smash, which pulls everybody in. So for a caster, this is a hard fight to get damage out on. So I could see you lusting this fight if you do have casters like we did in the group. As you can see, since we did Lust and we also had Pride, he melted. It took us probably less than a minute. And after we kill him, you're basically done. You just have to kill the last boss. Alright guys, so you made it. You're on the last boss. And it is a little bit challenging at times, but if you understand the fight, it's not as bad as it might seem. So the first 50%, don't use a single cooldown of yours. Don't use any cooldowns until you get to 50%. Along with Lust, if you have Lust, you're going to want to wait till you're at 50%. Now this boss is going to be doing a frontal, which you're just going to want to dodge. She starts going around in a circle. You just dodge that. On the tank, she's going to be doing a cleave. Make sure you have your mitigation up when she does it. I always have Shield of the Righteous, and I try and have a Wog ready to heal because she still chunks you for a good amount. Aside from those 2 things, the only other thing she does is that she summons the portal. You have to run away from the portal, not stand next to each other, and she'll summon some ads. You just kill the ads. I like to save Divine Toll for when the ads spawn because you can kick them all at once and they'll all come together and you can cleave them down. Once you're down at 50%, you want to Lust if you have it, blow all your cooldowns, and you're going to end up getting a couple extra mechanics. So she's going to spawn the chargers, which are going to start charging at you from 4 directions. You want to run away from that. And then she's also going to spawn swirls on the ground, which you want to dodge. Those are the 2 new mechanics once she reaches 50%. Aside from that, she just does everything else that she's been doing throughout the fight. As a tank here, I like to save my defensives for when she overlaps the scythe with the portal, because you take a ton of damage during that time, and then when you get the scythe, you take even more. So I always want to leave Ardent Defender, Bubble if I take Final Stand, and Guardian of the Ancient Kings up for that reason there. But that's essentially the fight, and there we kill her, timing the 17. And that's going to do it for the Theater of Pain guide. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'm always trying to look out for what you guys are saying. I'd like to see what you guys do for Theater of Pain, what you guys think of the dungeon. Aside from that, you can catch me at twitch.tv/PaladinDan. I hope you guys were able to learn something from the video. I wish you all a good day, and I will catch you all in the next one.